Hey, everybody, this is Devin
What's
Francis.
up, crystal nerds?
This is Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltsner,
This is Victoria.
also known as Peridot, and you were watching the Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast. So what are we doing today, Victoria?
We're doing the top 10 plot twists in Adventures in Odyssey.
I'm just picturing if you could get your bangs right now to like tease out a little more like that into a triangle.
Wow.
Yes, we are doing another countdown, this time the top 10 plot twists in Adventures in Odyssey. Going through them, talking about them, listening to some clips under fair use, of course, and doing that whole dealio. And there will be 3 honorable mentions as well.
What's
a first.
up, fellow young people? Devin saying dealio.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be doing 3 honorable mentions at the end for the first time in one of our countdowns, which
Yay.
feels like it should be a series, but it continues to not be, just in case anyone's curious. Anyways, so...
And if anyone's wondering why it's not a series, it's because we do what we want.
Yeah, anarchy.
Yeah. Stick it to the man.
Yeah.
Crystal nerds.
Okay, so let's... we don't have any news updates, so let's jump right into it. At the bottom of our list, we have our most recent plot twist, that Connie Kendall had a previously unknown half-sister named July, through Bill's previously unknown marriage to a woman named Jan.
Oh, does your wife like whipped cream and sprinkles on the top?
My wife? Oh, she's not my wife. I'm not married now.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just assumed that...
She's my daughter.
Your daughter? Oh, Connie never mentioned having a sister.
Connie doesn't know.
Oh.
Yeah, it'll be quite a surprise. Connie loses her mother, but gains a half-sister she knew nothing about.
Indeed. I'm sure it will be quite a surprise.
Jules first appeared in Life Expectancy, then returned to play a major role in The Ties That Bind in album 58. It seems that Bill's month thing built up to such a point that it overflowed into the naming of one of his daughters. I guess we should just be glad that Connie wasn't named October. This plot twist bottoms out our list for a few reasons. There was virtually no build-up to the reveal within the canon of the show. There's no foreshadowing that would lead us to expect that Connie would have an unknown family member beyond Bill Kendall's general Bill-ness. And Jules never showed up beforehand for a dramatic reveal of her identity. She was Connie's sister all along. Conversely, the fandom itself was already quite certain that Shona Kennedy's guest role on AIO from winning the Get in the Show contest would be as some sort of unknown sister or sistery figure to Connie, or something of that nature. So the in-canon abruptness combined with the widespread extra-canon suspicions meant that it was fairly expected by listeners, which is why it is number 10 on our list.
Can I just say that if Bill did run out of month names, I think he'd start going by zodiac names.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 9, we have the next of many family-related plot twists. In Last in a Long Line, Eugene tried desperately to find his paternal grandfather, Dr. Garvey Hiram Meltsner, only to discover that he had recently passed. In the end, however, he learned that he did, in fact, have a living relative in Odyssey after all, Bernard Walton.
Indeed. I only wish I had more family to look up.
Well, maybe you should look into your mother's side of the family.
You mean the Kronholms and the Mushnicks?
Mushnick?
My grandmother's maiden name, Mushnick.
How about that? You know, I have a third cousin whose maiden name was Mushnick. Yeah, Martha was her first name.
Your third cousin was named Martha Mushnick?
Is there an echo in here?
Well, what's the matter, Eugene?
Well, when researching my genealogy, I recall coming across a great-aunt named Martha Mushnick.
Are you two related?
Oh, no. I know what you're thinking, and it's not possible.
I don't know. You two do resemble each other.
We do not.
Cousin Bernard?
Now, you see what you've done?
Oh, that's so formal, Eugene. Just call him Cousin Bernie.
Cousin Bernie?
Oh, no, I don't.
This plot twist had ramifications on a surprising number of future episodes. From road trips to roommates to digging through old train waybills, Bernard and Eugene's common Mushnik heritage bound them together for several adventures to come. This plot twist was foreshadowed, though only within that same said episode. Earlier on, while Eugene searched for Hiram, Bernard commented to Lucy, "Can you imagine being related to Eugene? Ugh, I think I'd rather pull out my fingernails with a pair of rusty pliers." Little could he imagine the horrors and joys that lay ahead for both Meltsner and Walton. As we continue to milk the family tree cash cow, we come to Monty Whittaker Dowd's, then now Monty Whittaker's, reappearance in the Green Ring Conspiracy.
We haven't found any identification, so we thought you might be able to help us.
Where is he?
This way.
How badly was he injured?
Cuts and bruises, a black eye, a possible concussion. No broken bones or internal bleeding, thank God. I want to take a few more x-rays, but considering the crash, he's a lucky boy.
Boy?
He's a young man, early 20s maybe. Here he is. Feel free to move closer.
That's not possible.
You know him?
I certainly do. But why is he here?
Who is he with?
That's Monty, my grandson.
Monty's last appearance was in Scattered Seeds way back in album 7 as a young boy. Then, over 45 albums later, a private plane crashed in Odyssey amidst the beginnings of a massive counterfeiting conspiracy, and one of the injured passengers was Secret Service agent Monty Whittaker. While many knew that Monty would return during the album 53 season, giving him the then longest away period of any character ever to come back, I don't believe that many knew he would be returning in such a dramatic fashion, or that he had taken up the same mantle as his grandfather and uncle, working as a spy for a federal agency. To add to the intrigue, for a short while after his reappearance, Monty was named as a suspected turncoat working for the counterfeiters. Monty's presence would foreshadow a much larger plot twist later on in that season.
When Eugene was searching for his father, Leonard Meltsner, he came across tombstones for himself, his mother, and an Everett Meltsner, of whom he had no knowledge. Leonard later revealed that Everett was Eugene's brother, who was born and died in captivity. Even later, while trying to bring down Dalton Kern, everyone made an even more shocking discovery about Dalton's own son.
I thought I'd lost everyone. My wife, my father, you. Everett.
Everett, yes, I saw the headstone. Who was he?
Your brother. He died in Africa when he was 2. It was a devastating time for me.
I had a brother.
Yes. But I
It
can't...
appears that way. Dad? Dad, didn't you hear what I just said?
Yes, I heard.
Well, what's wrong? Jason, what happened?
We just came up the elevator with Dalton's son.
And?
He showed me a picture.
A picture? I'm sorry, but I failed to understand the significance of the photograph.
Eugene, the picture was of your mother.
Thelma? But how would that boy get a picture of my mother? It makes no sense.
That's what I thought. Until the boy told me his name. Everett.
Everett? But
Eugene. That boy upstairs is my son.
Everett was born while Eugene and Thelma were captive in Congo. But when he was 2 years old, he fell at the dig site and was taken to the hospital. The Meltsners were told that he died, while in fact, Dalton raised him as his own son. Because of Dalton's previous relationship with Thelma, he believed that Everett should have been his son, so he stole him away, telling everyone that he was dead.
Which, things tying into that do, I think, make Dalton Kern one of the most interesting villains we've ever had on the show. I think he's very underrated in that respect because of the relationship he has with Everett. But that's another talk for another time.
One of Dr. Regis Blackgaard's most infamous characteristics is his incredible propensity for survival. No matter how many times he seems to go down, he always pops up again. However, he couldn't outrun everything forever.
I'm not leaving without you.
And I'm not leaving with you.
Then we're at a stalemate.
Oh, not at all. I still have the Queen, this detonator. And I have nothing to lose by using it. You see, dear Jack, my illness isn't an act.
What?
I have a virus.
Ruku?
Then Jason told you. Yes, it seems that somewhere along the line I was exposed to a strain of it. And I will not die that kind of death. It's pointless. So I suggest you run for your life.
You don't want to kill me.
Oh, you fool! Why wouldn't I? Goodbye, Jack Allen.
Lieutenant Shaw, Whittaker, I'm not sending my people in until we know what the situation really is.
Then I'm going in.
No, Jason. You're gonna stay put until we...
Oh! Everybody get back!
You set off the bomb!
Lord, help us!
No!
During the Darkness Before Dawn arc, while Blackgaard was running for mayor, he was continually seen being more and more sick and tired as he campaigned. He kept telling Philip Glossman that it was an act for the press, as a part of his plans, but as he revealed to Jack, he was dying from the Ruku virus. All his skirts with death had finally caught up with him, and the man who danced with fate had finally made a misstep. Backed into a corner, not wanting to be captured or die slow, painful death from Ruku, Blackgaard went up against his strongest instincts and suicide. Thank you. I can't read today. Blackgaard went against his strongest instincts and suicide-bombed Woods End. This plot twist was quite well foreshadowed. Blackgaard fakes his death in a name, not a number, by receiving a fake Ruku injection. He worked with the virus extensively both before and after that. As mentioned earlier, he was also seen being more and more ill throughout the arc, as it became more and more clear that he wasn't just acting. Given that this was the culmination of all his plans over the years, it also made sense that he wouldn't escape this time, whether it meant death or prison. The bombing aspect was less foreshadowed, but it certainly made sense in light of the aforementioned reasons and Blackgaard's own stated reasons in the episode. He didn't want to be captured, he didn't want to die from Ruku, and he wanted to do whatever he could to take down Woods End. He was already trapped with Jack, so he had nothing left to lose.
When Monty Whittaker came back for the Green Ring Conspiracy, it was a huge callback for the show to bring back Whit's grandson and for him to be a special agent, just like Whit and Jason were. Therefore, it wouldn't have been complete if the third Whittaker spy hadn't made the scene.
Well, how long are you gonna wait?
Wait?
To take off that disguise.
Disguise?
You know what I'm talking about.
Well, now that's very interesting. I'm afraid the beard won't come off without a razor. However, the hat will. And the sunglasses. How's that?
That's much better. It's good to see you again.
Well, that's disappointing. I worked hard to get my disguise right. How'd you know it was me?
Well, you're my son, though I never expected the infamous Stiletto was really Jason Whittaker.
While a few people knew that Jason would also return for this album, the fact that he was the infamous Stiletto all along was significantly less well known. While Monty was only touted to be a traitor for a very short while, Jason ended up actually being one of the largest villains in the saga as far as we knew up until then. Throughout the episodes up to that point, the Stiletto was continually treated as a mobster so fearsome and legendary that most didn't believe he even existed. To have Jason reappear for this first time since his death in this way was a dramatic reveal, to say the least. As we near the top of our list, we hit the plot twist which was so secret it had an actual code name given to radio stations around the world. Oregon, or Oregon Returns.
Well, can we watch on the security monitor, or will Whit have us arrested for that?
He didn't say one way or the other.
Whit's standing in the way. I can't see who he's talking to.
Yeah, I know those voices.
Move a little to the left, Whit.
Nocturnal felicitations.
Oh! It can't be! I don't believe it!
Stuff me with spinach and call me a souffle.
It's Eugene!
Quiet, please. We don't want him to hear you.
Hear me? I'm going out there so he can see me. It's Eugene and Katrina.
Wait, you can't.
I have to. I'm his friend.
Because you're his friend, you won't.
I don't understand.
You will.
Around the time of album 35, Will Ryan was suddenly caught up in other matters that didn't allow him to play Eugene at that present time. The staff, as they wrote the Novacom saga, incorporated Eugene's absence from Odyssey into the story to facilitate Will not being able to record. When Eugene and Katrina got married in album 37, that entire scene, and all of Eugene's other scenes during the Novacom saga, were pieced together using old audio. Many people probably believed that Eugene would never return to the show, with Will gone, and his romance arc with Katrina having been wrapped up. It made sense that he could conceivably never come back. No one would have suspected that Whit's mysterious red-eye tinkering and an NIH agent prowling the town would have been the prelude to Eugene's return to Odyssey. And of course things became even more confusing and emotional when it was revealed that Eugene had lost all memory of the town. Truly a memorable episode. From the second episode of the Novacom saga, one of the most key recurring figures was the devious hacker AREM, spelled A-R-E-M, all capitals, who was able to break into any computer system in Odyssey and was always leaking top-secret information. Through all of AREM's appearances and misdirects, no one in the town could have guessed the hacker's true identity.
Do you know a man named Robert Mitchell?
Mitch?
Is he the one you came to meet?
Wait a minute. Why is the FBI interested in Mitch?
He's a professional computer hacker who's broken into dozens of systems in the last few months. Went by the name of AREM?
You mean AREM?
No, AREM.
Because everyone assumed that AREM was a hacker trying to destroy Wit's End, everyone also assumed that there was no way it could possibly be Novacom's community relations rep and Connie's boyfriend, the mild-mannered Robert Mitchell. Mitch didn't appear in Odyssey until shortly after AREM began wreaking havoc, and his charms and green eyes quickly won over certain parties. It wasn't until scant moments before learning of Mitch's death that Connie began to suspect that AREM was really a protagonistic vigilante all along. By then, it was too late. AREM was later revealed to be pronounced AREM, as in RM, initials for Robert Mitchell. A fun fact about this is that AREM was originally supposed to be Richard Maxwell, but actor Nathan Carlson wasn't available to play him, so Kathy Waringa created Mitch instead. This is why Richard and Mitch have the same initials, RM.
It's not terribly often that characters die on adventures in Odyssey. Or rather, they die, but it's not usually a character main enough that more than one episode is devoted to discussing their deaths. One of these exceptions was Robert Mitchell. The show spent several episodes detailing Connie's grieving process as she lost her boyfriend to mysterious corporate assassination. That's what made this moment so surprising.
I'm going to tell you something. I don't think it's a good idea, but he keeps insisting.
Who?
You can't say a word to anyone. It's dangerous. You don't know how dangerous it is.
What's dangerous? What are you talking about?
Connie, Mitch is alive.
When Mitch died in Plan B back in album 37, the FBI raided his hotel room and inducted him into the Witness Protection Program. Because of all the work he'd done against Andromeda as AREM, especially after his friend Justine Baker was murdered for the same reason. Not being AREM, just working against Andromeda. The FBI claimed that Mitch had been killed and allowed everyone to believe that Andromeda was responsible. Connie went through an extensive grieving process, from spending time with Wooten talking about death and experiencing affection, to reading poetry about him on kids' radio, to nearly attacking Bennett Charles at Mitch's funeral, to flying to Maine to visit his grave. That's where Rachel, Mitch's sister, finally felt the need to let Connie know the truth. Many listeners wrote in to question why the writers would kill off Mitch during this time, but they could only respond to everyone that they would have to keep listening.
What a cop-out.
Yeah.
At the very top of our list, the number one plot twist in Adventures in Odyssey is...
Flash marks. From some sort of explosion, most likely.
Do you use explosives when you're digging for gold?
Not in a cave that could potentially collapse. Unless...
What?
Unless you wanted it to cave in.
What?
There must be something else around here. Yes! There! It's another tunnel!
What are you saying, Eugene?
Katrina, my father must have tunneled out of his cell during off hours and built another tunnel. When he was finished, he staged a cave-in so that everyone would think he was dead. Then he went out this other tunnel that leads to the outside.
You mean...
Yes, Katrina. It is conceivable that my father escaped.
It was only Eugene's 4th episode on the show, Peace on Earth, when he first told Whit that he had no living family. He was the last in a long line of Meltsners, as both of his parents were long gone. In subsequent episodes over the next many years, we slowly learned more and more pieces about Eugene's past. His parents were missing in action, or his parents went missing in action, on an archaeological expedition in Africa when he was just a young boy, and Eugene was orphaned with no other family other than, he would later learn, Bernard Walton and the other Mushnick Waltons. It was something that was always touted as a core part of who Eugene was. When Eugene first realized that he and Katrina had come to the same village as his parents did before their disappearance, he was intrigued, to say the least, but nothing could have prepared him for the realization that his father was still alive to that day, 20 years after they'd last seen each other, having escaped Dalton Kern's captivity. It would take Eugene a long time yet to actually track down his father, even longer in the show, in Odyssey time, than it did for the listeners. But eventually, they would be reunited at long last. And so now we have some honorable mentions, as we said before, 3 of them to be precise. So these are plot twists that did not make our top 10 list. The biggest reasons that these ones didn't make it is the fact that none of these 3 influence any other episodes than the ones in which they appear. And these 3 are in no particular order.
When Connie was writing her book about Odyssey, she recounted a tale from her youth, wherein she went to a summer camp and got involved in a prank war. She, known as the Avenger, was arch enemies with a mysterious genius boy named Goggles. When Eugene read Connie's story, he realized that he was Goggles, and that, while only through walkie-talkies, the 2 of them had met each other years and years before either of them would work together at Wit's End.
Elucidate me on the subject matter?
Well, it's about summer camp, Eugene. Something I'm sure you know nothing about.
Au contraire. I not only know about summer camp, I even had some rather enjoyable experiences there myself.
Was this camp, outside?
Indeed. My foster parents, the Burnetts, thought nature camp would be a good experience for me. Do you want to hear about it?
Well, maybe later. I want to finish reading my story first.
Are you sure? The story of Camp Jumonville is quite the riveting tale.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want to finish working on it.
What do you mean?
That's what this story's about.
Do you mean to say that you went to Camp Jumonville?
Didn't I just say that?
In Northern California?
Uh-huh.
But that's where I went. You must be confused.
I still have cheerleading medals that have the name printed right on them.
But I have a legacy there that lives on even to this day.
So do I. I still get calls from people who call me by my camp name. The Avenger.
You were the Avenger?
Yeah.
You jest.
Why?
Because I am Goggles.
John Avery Whittaker has lived a long, complicated, and many splendored life. It's hard to recount all the incredible things he's done, but one of the most spectacular is that he was, probably, crowned king of the small European nation of Muldavia. When he told Isaac Morton a story, he told it about a young American writer named James Armour, but in the end, it was heavily suggested that the story was actually about Whit, when Whit revealed that he had the same pocket watch given to James in this story.
That's plenty. Please accept something from me. Well, I need a watch. A watch? I forgot mine when I came over from America. I haven't known the time since I got here. Then a watch you shall have. And from my very own pocket. I've never had a pocket watch before. Open it. That's wonderful. It's yours. And with it, all my gratitude as well.
Mr. Whittaker,
Yes, Brooke?
could you tell me what time it is?
Why, certainly. It's 2:30, Brooke.
Considering that Whit was also a young American writer at one point, meeting all the fact criteria that we know about James, and that they had very similar personalities, and the fact that James Armour is the same initials as John Avery, the pocket watch, I would say, is fair evidence to consider that it really did happen to John Avery Whittaker.
Jimmy Barkley has always been known as the most quintessential patron of the Imagination Station, despite the fact that he didn't try it until 2 albums after it was introduced. Nevertheless, episodes like Lincoln, Moses the Passover, Wonderworld, and this one have cemented their connection, like Whit said, like Christopher Robin and Pooh Corner. For that reason, when Someone to Watch Over Me begins, it seems very reasonable that Jimmy is yet in another fantastic adventure through cyberspace. However, he couldn't have been more wrong.
Hey, what gives? Why won't the door open?
Because there's something you have to do first.
What?
Remember. Think back, Jimmy. Back to before you were on the plane. The Flying Fortress. What were you doing?
I was playing, I think.
That's right. Where were you playing, Jimmy?
In the woods.
Yes. Where in the woods?
I don't remember.
Yes, you do. You were in a very special place. It has the same name as the Star Cruiser.
Wonder.
And the battleship.
Wonder.
Where were you, Jimmy?
Wonder World. Wonder World.
That's right, Jimmy. You were in the Wonder World treehouse. Now, this is very important. What happened there, Jimmy? What happened at Wonder World?
I was playing and I moved back and the wall gave way. Oh, and I fell. I fell.
It's all right.
My head.
It's all right, Jimmy.
Fell.
It's okay. It's okay, I'm here. Yes, you fell, Jimmy. And you hit your head very hard. That's why it hurts so much. You've been unconscious for 3 days, Jimmy. A coma.
A coma?
Yes, it's been touch and go. That's why Grimm has been chasing you, and why he wanted to take you with him.
Jimmy fell from the Wonderworld treehouse and was in a coma for 3 days. This episode was comprised of his dreams, as we see a battle for his soul between a guardian angel and the Grim Reaper, while Jimmy tries to recollect where he really is. Finally, obviously, heaven triumphs, and Jimmy is able to wake up.
Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Bump! So, those are our top 10 plot twists for Adventures in Odyssey. Just to read the list again, if we can alternate on that, basically just to read them out. So, number 10, Connie has a half-sister named Jules Kendall.
Number 9, Bernard and Eugene are third cousins twice removed.
Number 8, Monty Whittaker was one of the members in the plane crash in the Green Ring Conspiracy.
Number 7. Everett Meltsner exists, and even further than that, is alive.
Number 6. Blackgaard has the Ruku virus, and it prompted him to suicide bomb Wits End.
Number 5. The much built-up Stiletto turns out to be Jason Whittaker.
Number 4. Through all of the intrigue of a most intriguing question, it turns out that the person returning was in fact Eugene Meltsner and Katrina.
Number 3. AREM is Robert Mitchell.
Number 2. AREM is Robert Mitchell is alive.
Number 1. Leonard Meltsner is not Robert Mitchell, is not AREM, is also alive.
And our honorable mentions are that Connie and Eugene were both together at Camp Jumonville.
Whit is maybe the king of Muldavia.
Yes. And that Jimmy was in fact in a coma, not in the imagination station.
Jimmy is not any of the aforementioned people and is maybe alive.
Yes. But then in the end, he was alive. So, yep, that's our list. So please let us know down in the comments which plot twists did we not include that you think we should have? Which ones did we include that you think really shouldn't have been on the list?
Which one's your favorite?
How should we have reordered the list according to your whims and fancies?
Tell us how great we are.
Yes. Please let us know what you think of the list and how you would have changed it in the comments. Look at that shameless plug, because we're just awful like that. So, what are we doing next time, Victoria?
I don't know, Crystal Nerd. What are we doing?
We are going to be reviewing BTV-To Tell The Truth, as well as A Lesson from Mike.
Yay! Have you listened to BTV yet?
I have
Just
not.
Wondering. I can't work with them. I can't work with this. Get away. Leave. Right now.
But, no.
Leave my site.
So, that's what we're doing next time. BTV-To Tell The Truth and A Lesson from Mike will be reviewing those, and there are obviously many more exciting things to come in the future after that. So, until next time, this has been Devin Francis, also known as Leonard Meltsner.
And I've been Victoria, also known as the one who is the bearer of Jareth's necklace.
And until next time, you've been watching The Adventures in Odyssey Oddcast.
Oddcast.